Okay, so here we are with another McFarlane Batman 66 classic TV series unboxing, and this is Robot Batman. I was originally intending on opening up some DC Multiverse today, but I did get these from the McFarlane Toy Store this week. They had a good deal going on there. And plus, when I can order stuff from the McFarlane Toy Store, I can use my PayPal and I can do a pay in four. So it doesn't hit me quite as hard in the wallet. So I was able to do that. Anyway, we've been over this packaging several times before. It's the same packaging that we see on these Batman 66 figures all the time. It's got the artwork on the back by Mike Allred because this is a figure that's based on the comic book Batman 66, which was based on the Adam West television show, not the television show proper itself. As I'm sure anybody familiar with the show could tell you that Batman Robot was never a character on the show. Robot Batman, however you want to phrase that. Yes, this was a character that was created for the comic book. Uh, he was created as a kind of a substitute Batman for any time, Batman would be, out of town or incapacitated or anything like that. The Batman robot could step in and fulfill Batman's duties. And you can see that he is not glued to this card very well at all. This is how the package came to me. But since I was able to get them for cheap, it doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and open them up. But yeah, it's got the you can see it's got the Batman 66 logo on there, which means it's based on the comic book. So the other figures that I got when I got these for cheap was I got him, I got the Clock King finally, and I got that Batgirl that's colored like Batman the animated series. So we'll talk more about her. And the coloring on that figure when I get that, you can see he's got that thing where like the cape is taped to the package. Oh, I hate that. So let's go ahead, try very carefully to get this tape off of here without causing the cape to fray or anything like that. I'll just tape it back to the inside of the blister, and then we can go ahead and pull that out of there, and then we can get a better look at the Batman robot. And he's very much, the way you might imagine a robot Batman might look on the 1966 television series. He's got that kind of 1960s robot look to him. He's not too different from, say, Robbie the Robot or the robot from Lost in Space, but more of a Batman look to him. So let's go ahead and get him out of the package, and I'm going to be very careful that I don't get this cape caught on any rough edges of the blister. It's sticking out the end of the blister. And the only rubber tab that was on him was around the middle, and there's the robot Batman out of the package. This, I think, is a pretty cool figure because not only is it just a cool action figure on his own of the character of the robot Batman, but he would also be something cool just to have standing in the back of your Bat cave as like a prop or something like that. And since I've got right next to me the Italian Batman, you can see he's a little bit taller than the regular Batman figure. Oh, here's actually the regular Batman figure. So he's a little bit taller, but it would probably also look good, I think, if we put him in like a superpowers kind of scenario. Because the robot can be bigger than Batman. It can be a lot bigger than Batman. And in fact, on the cover of the comic, Mike Allred drew it as being almost like King Kong size, but he's a bit closer to this size in the actual comic book itself. And it is pretty accurate to the artwork. I did just read the comic book again before I started doing this episode, so I wanted to refamiliarize myself with the character. So let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. But first, I want to talk about the head is just kind of like this smooth dome and just has the eyes and the eyebrows and everything like that kind of painted onto it. It's even got some of like the reflective metallic lines painted onto it, which gives it very much of a comic booky look. He's got this antenna over on the other side, which is a soft rubbery plastic, so hopefully won't get broken. The head does rotate all the way around, no up and down or side to side movement. And then the arms, of course, rotate all the way around the shoulders, and they move up to the sides about that far. And then you got a single joint of articulation at the elbow, which it's kind of stiff. Is that even going to move? How about this one? There we go. Little gentle coaxing there. So that's about as far in as it moves. And of course, that rotates all the way around at the elbow. And then he's got these claws that rotate all the way around. They're not actual hands, they're kind of claw shaped uh, clamps or whatever. And I was thinking they might be hinged so that they could open and close, but they don't seem to be. It looks like it is just all one molded piece. It would have been nice if they could have moved in and out or around or whatever. Oh, and he's got some accessories because he's got these two flamethrower devices. So let's go ahead and pop those out and have a look at those. And man, those are embedded deep within this blister, but we can get them out. Come on. Jeez. Okay, it actually came apart. All right, so if I didn't know it came apart, I would have just taken it apart. I don't know if it's intended to come apart or if like they had it glued and I just kind of broke the glue. So I'm going to try to stick it back together now. But yeah, that's what those flamethrowers look like. And since it does have kind of like a little peg on there, I think if you wanted to have like a regular Batman figure hold them, yeah, you can do that. So he can actually hold the flamethrower. So that's pretty cool. But they are made for our robot Batman. So let's go ahead and see how these can attach. It almost looks like these pegs should fit into some peg holes somewhere, but I'm not seeing any. There, I finally got that one to move. But we can fit them into the claws themselves. But I'm pretty sure they're supposed to attach onto the wrists in some way. I just can't figure out how they're supposed to do that because I don't see any kind of holes for them to plug into. Hmm. If anybody out there has got any ideas, let me know. But we'll set them aside for now. I go back to talking about the articulation. So the Batman robot can rotate all the way around at the waist, and he can kick up. Looks like about that far. You know, he's a robot, so he's going to be a little stiff as far as the legs go. So that's about as much of a split as he can do as far as that goes. It doesn't seem like I don't think there's intended to be side to side motion here, but there is a little bit. I'm not sure if that's just because of the way the legs are jointed, like maybe they're on like a slight ball joint, but it doesn't seem like it's intended to move that way. But it does kind of a little bit. Here, so you can plug these into his the flamethrowers into his boots. There's some holes on his boots. So then you can have him using the flamethrowers as if they're rockets to propel them through the air. So that's pretty cool. But it doesn't look like there's any place else to put them. Like I said, it seems like they would have like a place where you could plug them into the arms, but I don't see them anywhere. Now, of course, he can't stand on the shelf like that though, unless you pull these flames out. And like I said, I don't even know if the flames are supposed to be pulled out. It doesn't seem like it's coming loose on this one. So I think I just accidentally like snapped the glue when I was trying to pull it out. I don't think it was intended to be removable from there at all. But yeah, Batman does have a single joint of articulation at the knee, which bends and rotates all the way around like so. So that's our robot Batman, and he's a pretty cool figure. But again, this is one of those figures that would be kind of niche as far as Batman figures go. And I can only really see somebody being super excited about this figure if you know you're somebody who was a reader of the Batman 66 comic book and you were a big fan of that, and then you'd really want to have him in your collection. But honestly, I kind of feel like the Batman 66 comic book is a niche collectible to what's already like a niche section of the Batman fandom. And Batman fandom itself is, you know, I think Batman fandom is kind of widespread, but Batman action figure collecting is kind of niche. So you got a niche of a niche of a niche. So that's probably why you can still very easily find this figure for $10 on the Mcfarlane website. But I'm glad I picked him up. I think he's really cool. I think I'm exactly the niche that this figure was going for. If you're somebody like me, you probably really would want to have this figure. And even then, like, it took me a while to get around to picking him up. I'm late to the party on this one, but I was always intending on picking him up, and I'm glad I did. So that's pretty much it for the Batman robot. Kind of a brief review, but next episode I'll have the Clock King to open up for you. And it's kind of funny because, like I said, I reread the issue of the comic book with the Batman robot to kind of refamiliarize myself before I did this video. And who just so happens to be the first villain that is captured by the Batman robot in that comic book? It's none other than the Clock King himself. So yeah, we're it's kind of funny how that worked out. I got him and the Clock King at the same time, and it's not like they came out in the same wave either. I just happened to pick them both up on the Mcfarlane website because they were both cheap figures, and I was looking to buy some cheap figures because I was already getting the main thing I was there for was the Batgirl and Batcycle bundle that they were doing, and I picked that up, and then I was like, well, if I want to do the PayPal thing, I need to probably get like another figure or two. Let me see what other Batman 66 figures they have on here for cheap. And I saw him and the Clock King, so I went ahead and got those. But anyway, yeah, Clock King's going to be the next episode, and then I'll move on to Batgirl, and then finally the Batgirl cycle. So anyway, that's the plan for this week. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the robot Batman, both the character itself and this figure specifically. I don't think there was any other appearances of this robot Batman, but if there were, they would have been in that series somewhere. But I don't remember any other. Why does Batman look like the Muffler Man? Well, because he lives on Drury Lane, of course. No, like he's from the comic book. He's from the Batman 66 comic book. So they made a robot Batman, and he was pretty effective, but then the Riddler and the Joker team up, and they're able to defeat him with like a giant electromagnet, like the kind you see at junkyards, and they've got him trapped. And then the real Batman and Robin return to Gotham City and take out the Riddler and the Joker, so they're able to stop their evil scheme. But I think honestly, like Bruce and Dick wind up going on a fishing trip because they don't have any work to do because the Batman robot is handling all the work. That's what happens in the story. So they're actually on a fishing trip and hear about the Riddler on the radio. And I think it was just one of those things where like Bruce was really trying to just give the Riddler and the Joker enough rope. So that is one of those situations where he was just kind of like, just seeing what they were up to kind of thing, letting the Batman robot handle everything in the meantime. And besides, he doesn't get to go on fishing trips that often because he's usually busy being Batman. So, and he's always telling Aunt Harriet that him and Dick are going on a fishing trip whenever they got to go and do something like as Batman and Robin. So they finally actually got to go fishing. So even Batman deserves to relax for a little bit. He can't be Batman all the time. He's got to turn it off occasionally. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. I'll be back with the Clock King. Bye. Okay, there we go.